Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the new studio. I realized a couple of hours ago, in fact, that I've never actually welcomed you all to the new studio. So I figured that I might as well give it a bit of a go and show you some of the new equipment that we've got and give you an idea of what's involved with making content when you have to move and you're moving away from your home or rather you're moving into your home from your work office. So this room is a bit of a mess at the moment. Let me shut the door to give you an idea of how this is made. So this was our guest room in our house, and you can see it's a bit of a mess at the moment because we haven't finished sorting out all of the content. So this was the guest double bed, which was up against that wall. We haven't got anywhere to actually store the box springs or the mattress, so we just decided to leave it here. And the closet is now full of all of the Transport Evolved production equipment. You can see it packed up there. We've got sound mixing desks, we've got monitors, we've got stands for monitors, we've got my suit in there, we've got microphone stands and cables, as well as another spare bed, because this room used to be my craft room, and it was our guest room, it was my craft room, and it was also my fursuiting room. For those who don't know, I am a fursuiter. And so I had all of my costumes hanging up in here and all of the accessories for all of the costumes. Now, the fun thing is that a lot of their accoutrement is still in here. So we've got a bandana still in here. This was actually made by a friend of mine locally. And I've got all my badges and things still hiding in this dressing table. But all of the suits themselves are now in my office where I do all the editing. So they've been put into the office, which means they were in that closet there, but the bed that was in the office is now in here. So we've actually got a single bed in here and a double bed in here, and they're both kind of in the way. This was also the room where we had the backup server, which is here. And this house has been flood wired. So we've got 10 gig networking in the wall. We've also got 1 gig networking and 10 gig networking. So I've got to go to the switch in the room next door and switch out that 10 gig socket and move it downstairs so that I can then plug the backup server in, because you've got a terabyte's worth of content that we've created in the last 2 weeks since we moved into this room. So let me show you the set. So as you're obviously watching the show normally, you will see that we have the iMac and the lamps, which I cannot activate because they're on the Philips Hue, but they're Philips Hue light bulbs, and so I can turn those on, as well as a light strip. This light strip here is set to make red onto that back room wall. We've got our YouTube award, which looks like it's low, but when I'm sat down, it looks at just the right angle. So this is the chair that I sit in when I'm now reading my scripts. And actually this chair is kind of special because it came all the way from England. And I remember my mother putting this seat on when I was really young. So this chair is probably, oh goodness, it must be 50 or 60 years old, because I remember it being renovated when I was younger, and I'm 40, so it would have been about 35 years ago it probably got renovated. So then over here we've got our chroma key wall, our green screen wall, which is where I stand when I do 10. These lights are going away. They are work lamps and they don't produce a very good clean white light. I'm probably going to keep these two here, this one and this one, just as uplighters to make sure that everything looks okay when we're doing the green screen, because when you're standing here, you want a light behind you to light the green screen to help get rid of any shadows. But then you also want a hair light, which is what this one here does. It just shines a light on the back of my head to make it easier to do the green screen set. Now, what we also have here, these are our Godox lights. They arrived last week. They have a soft box on them. See if I can turn the right one off. So they're remote controlled. So there you go. And the nice thing about these is that if you move with the softbox and that little grill on front, it stops the light from spilling into other areas, which is how we get that really lovely effect now. If you stand right in front of it, it's very direct, but if you stand off to one side, that little grid on the front allows you to really direct where the light goes. So these are adjustable, so you can change the brightness. See if I can turn down the brightness a little bit there. I don't know if you can see now, we're about 60% of what we were previously, and then you can turn those off. Now when I'm filming in here, obviously I'm only using, this is my main light, which we use for our key, and then we use this one here for the fill. And this one's actually got 2 diffusers in it, so it's a real soft light that comes through here, whereas this one only has one of its diffusers on. We've got 2 more of these lovely pieces of gear here. So inside here is one of those. So I've got to assemble those this weekend. Then we have our Canon 80D, which is our main camera rig. And at the moment it's set up with the monitor on the side and my teleprompter sits just underneath. Eventually, I'm hoping to get my own proper teleprompter. A couple of people have commented that it doesn't always look like I'm actually looking at the screen, and you'd be quite right, it doesn't. Let's see if I can set this up now. So this is what it looks like when it's on the rig, and it's just designed to side load straight into there, which is really nice. And when you tighten it up, it just sits everything quite nicely on there. Now this is the 80D. It only films in 1080, but the lens that we've got on here at the moment is the Sigma 18-35. It's an art lens. It's a really beautiful lens. I love it a lot, and it's really improved a lot of the quality. We've had it for about 1.5 years, so you may have noticed about 1.5 years, a lot of our videos stopped being so fuzzy, and that's the reason why, that lens there. And then over here, we have our 50mm lens. I left the lens cap off. Bad me. You didn't see that. Over here we have our Nifty 50. And the Nifty 50 is what we use when we want to do a close-up shot. So when I'm doing close-up shots, that's the Nifty 50. And yes, I brought my soda in here, which is bad because you're not supposed to have any drinks in the studio because of all of the expensive equipment. For those of you who are curious, this iMac does indeed still work. And it was donated to the channel by one of our local fans who said, hey, I've got an old spare iMac. He collects old computers and he had a spare one. And he said, would I like it? And I said, yeah, that would be lovely. And so it's connected to our network. And then I just push onto that computer a relevant image for whatever I'm talking about. And away we go. And finally, of course, we've got all this sound proofing. These are all the sound tiles that were in our old studio, and Erin had the bright idea, I think it was Erin, of actually putting these on cardboard and then hanging them like pictures from picture hooks. So it meant that when we left the studio, it was really easy for us just to basically take these off the wall and bring them home, which is where we've got this new studio. And you'll see, yeah, this actually still works. Still connects to the internet, and I think it's running OS X 10.3, maybe 10.2, and it's a G4 iMac. It's really beautiful. So let me show you the server room. Now you get an idea of what the server room looks like. Now, obviously, I'm being kind of careful because this is my house and I'm trying to be pretty, make sure that I retain my privacy and everything. But this is the server room. And in the server room, well, I'm not going to lie to you, the server room, we need a little bit more space. So this server room was designed originally when we bought this house. This was just a storage closet, right? Previous owners used to put out of season clothes in there and snow gear and all of that stuff. Well, this is now our server room. And when we moved in, we paid to have the whole house flood wired. So we have 26 network cables that go all around the house, and then these two cables here are from our 4G LTE modem or antenna that sit on the roof. And then we have this cable is our PoE cable, and that goes all the way up to the roof where our main internet connection is, because we actually have two internet connections joined together. And you can see that in here. I know it's really noisy. So this is our modem. It's an Omnia Turrets, which is a great bit of kit, great for security minded folks. And then we've got 3 servers in here at the moment, which is kind of crazy. So we've got the original Transport Evolved server, which is here, which is now my personal home server. So we have a Plex server and we have some home automation stuff that sits on that server, and it's a backup server for all of the home computers in the house. We've then got the 45 Drives Transport Evolved server, which is this one here, and we're going to have to put probably about 256 gigabytes of RAM in that at some point very soon, because we need to improve our performance, and by increasing that, that's going to help a lot. And then on top of that, we have an old Xserve. Now the Xserve is, excuse me, let me just put this back on. It's a consumer grade, let me switch it over. It's a consumer grade server, so sometimes the door decides to get stuck inside. We do still have cooling issues in the middle of the summer because this house does not have AC. And so in the summertime, this room can get up to like 35 degrees C, which is really too hot. Luckily today it's not got above 22 degrees Celsius outside because we live up a mountain and it's been nice and cool. And tonight it's going to be down into the single digits. Like the room thermostats at the moment are saying like 16, 17 degrees Celsius, which is wonderful. It's lovely. I like that. But unfortunately, tomorrow it's going to get to 28 degrees Celsius, and then Sunday and Monday it's supposed to get to 38 degrees Celsius, which is ridiculously hot. So I think what we will do after we've done all the backups today is I'll actually turn off the Transport Evolved server. I'll let the rest of the team know so they're not trying to access it, because they've all got, they can all access this server and dump stuff on it if they need to. But yeah, we still do have a bit of a cooling issue. And so we have our old Xserve is our redundant system, and that also has some development stuff on it for the website and things like that. We can vent it into a ceiling, and at some point we're going to put a mini split system. But what we have done, and I can show you here, is we've got an exhaust vent and then we've got an intake vent on the door itself. So when this door is closed, you've actually got a really nice vent system going on there. And this is lockable as well, which is really nice. And so at that point, it makes it a whole lot easier for us to exist and work and do all of that. Now the final room that I wanted to show you in the new house, you can hear how much quieter it is in here, is the office where we're going to be doing all of our editing. I'm not going to show you that side of the room because that's where my wife works and that's not fair on her. My desk is an absolute tip right now. I've been busy this week. So this weekend I'm going to be sorting my desk out. This is tomorrow's 10. So you can see this is the show that's just about to go live. So this is tomorrow's show. And just to give you an idea of some of the network demands on the system. See if I can actually find this. So this here is the 4-camera setup for all of the, working on a review. I don't know if you can see which car that is. But this is a 3-camera setup. It's actually going to be a 5-camera setup because I've got a couple of external cameras to sync up. But when I'm scrubbing through this, which I do sometimes, scrubbing means you're putting everything, you're basically moving your cursor through. Sometimes it's possible to get up to 800 or 900 megabits per second going through the network. So all of this video is actually on that server in the other room. So I'm editing 4K video. I'm editing 4K video through the network, which is, if you think about it, that is slightly insane. So I'm actually editing 4K video through the network, and that's because we have this 10 gig switch, which I didn't show you, which is in the other room. And that allows it makes it possible for us to edit all of this video on the go. Now, obviously, there have been some challenges. One of them is that now Erin is not working at the studio. She's working from home. When she has something she needs to send us, it can take an hour sometimes for that stuff to arrive because our network connection at best, at this time of day, it's probably about 15 up and 15 down, 15 megabits per second up and 15 megabits per second down. And unfortunately, it costs us a lot of money, but it's the price we pay for living in the countryside. And we're really lucky that we've got a good ISP. They know us by name. In fact, a couple of months ago, there was a problem with the network. I rang them up and it didn't go, it went through to voicemail, and I thought I wasn't going to bother them. So I thought I'd just talk to them the next day. And actually, they rang me back within about 10 minutes and said, "Hi, Nikki," knew me by name. "We've got a problem with one of the masts nearby, and we'll fix it. Don't worry, we're working on it." And they fixed it straight away, which is, I guess, one of the benefits of being in the countryside. You have, this great connection with other people who know you, and it's a small business, so they know all of their customers. That is awesome service. Of course, we are probably going to look into satellite internet once Elon's got his service up and running, and I think Starlink might be a good choice for us, but only if it's got a decent latency, and only if Starlink doesn't have a data cap. Because if you think about it, we have created a terabyte of content in 2 weeks. So we're averaging about half a terabyte of content in terms of raw video files in 1 week. And that's insane. I mean, this video here, I have signed up for the beta test. I don't know if they're going to give it to me. Here you go. You missed that, but I think there for a second it said, I don't know if it said, there you go, 696 megabits per second. 500 megabits per second, which is just absolutely crazy in terms of, 879 megabits per second. So that is going through our Ethernet connection back into the server. And the wires actually run, the sockets are over by our filing cabinet, which is just there. They run up the wall. They run all the way through the ceiling and down into the server room. So it's a short run, but it's still pretty crazy. And as you can see, things are a little bit a little bit strained, a little bit challenged. Still, we haven't figured out where everything's going to go. We need more storage space, really, because we've just got stuff piled up at the moment. Because you have to think about it. We had to turn a 1,200 square foot studio space, and we had to shove that into a 2,000 square foot home. So it's been a bit of a challenge. Obviously, this comes from the studio. This is our studio printer and fax machine. And we've still got our personal fax machine and printer as well, because, what are you going to do? You've got two. And I don't know if eventually Transport Evolved will break off and have its own space again, maybe. In case you're wondering, that is... Let's see if I can point in the right direction. That there is Queenie Deerheart. That's what I was saying about putting all my costumes in the studio. So all of my costumes are in there. You can see Chimichanga the Fox hiding there, and Glycerin, the Dutch angel dragon, hiding there, and Queenie is actually just hiding right here, bless her, because I was doing something silly with her earlier this week, and so she was already out and I haven't put her away. Sorry, Majesty. So yeah, that is pretty much where we're at now. I've woken them up, exactly. Yeah, Queenie's pretty good. We actually put a special hanger in there so we can hang her up. It's actually a wetsuit dryer. She's really heavy. The suit's really heavy because it's padded and he's got extra padding and stuff. So it's actually easier for the suit if you hang it up. You see all that padding in the legs there. That padding is quite heavy, and so I want to keep her in good condition. Obviously, I can't wear her at the moment outside of the house to do all the charity stuff that I used to do, because none of the charity stuff is happening. The Children's Hospital doesn't want us because it's not safe, and we can't do any of the other charity things we've been doing. So, yeah. So this week, we're going to try and put some air conditioning units, which is why I've got this. We have got to put some air conditioning units in here because it's going to get up to 38 degrees Celsius on Sunday and Monday, which is 100 degrees Fahrenheit. We are eventually going to put a mini split air conditioning system in, but it's really expensive to do that, even if we do it ourselves. And yes, I watched the Linus Tech Tips DIY video on how to do that. And so we will probably put a mini split in, but for now, when we moved out of our apartment last year, we actually brought with us the 3 windowsill-based AC units that we had, and we originally planned to sell them, and then they've just been sat in the garage. And we've realised that the small ones will fit in this window, the large one will fit in our bedroom window, and it will also fit downstairs in the other room. So there you have it. Storage room there. You can just hear the noise and the sound it's making, and then when we come in here and we shut the door, you can hear how much quieter it is in here, because obviously we have to film in here, so that's why we've got all of the acoustic treatment and everything else. So if you have helped us make this transition by donating, by supporting us on Patreon, watching the ads on YouTube, or just sending us, money every now and then through Ko-fi, I just want to thank you, because none of this would be possible without you guys. And I know I sometimes, I've mentioned it a couple of times, but our Google ad revenue dropped by $2,000 in the first month when COVID really started to hit. It would have been March. March and April were really tough months for us. May and June got better. And then things from there got onwards from there. Definitely need to bring a chicken into the studio, I suspect, Sally. I think I would probably get divorced if I did that, but also my chickens don't talk to me. For whatever reason, they're still a little bit afraid of me, so they kind of run away. But I do love my chickens. They are going to be in the Sunday meeting, so you can look forward to that. And that is really it. That's all I wanted to show you. I wanted to say thank you. Without you guys, it wouldn't have been possible. And I'm incredibly proud of the fact that I've been able, throughout this pandemic, to not only continue to produce content for Transport Evolved, and for the first 2 months, this was in my living room, And knowing that I was going to have to carry on producing content at home, I basically brought all of the computer gear home. And then I made a fake green screen. I basically took a clean plate of the old set in the old studio, which I still have. And I focused it as if I was standing, I stood where I would normally stand, focused the camera for me, locked the focus off, ducked out of shot, and then took a photograph. So the back looked right in terms of focal length and everything else. And that's what we did for the first couple of months. Now we've got that green screen back on. We did have a proper green screen in the studio that was painted, a green screen wall. Unfortunately, we're going to have to pay the landlord like $300 for them to clean it up because the paint we had didn't match. But if you've watched any show from Transport Evolved with the old set, with me standing in front of the bookcase and stuff like that, anything from the beginning of March through until me stopping making those videos, which is 2 weeks ago, it was all green screen downstairs. But for me to do that was causing a lot of hassle because I had to kick my daughter out of the lounge, and it's summertime, so she wanted to be on the PlayStation and watching TV. So moving up into this room has enabled us a plenty of ability to change. And this is the biggest room in the house. This is an 18 by 12 room, which is huge. It is the biggest room in the house, and it was our guest room, and obviously our guest room and my craft room and my fursuit kind of storage room and all of that. But now it's the Transport Evolved studio, and I guess there are some bonuses because I can write this off my taxes because I can claim the mortgage for this room and the server room and the office because I pretty much do nothing but work in all three of those rooms. But the fact that you guys have continued to support us and give us plenty of love and feedback, and you still continue to watch the content, means a lot to me. I was really worried that I was going to have to fire people, and I haven't had to do that. I've been able to keep myself paid. It's been tight at times, as it has for all of us. But I've been able to continue to pay myself. I've been able to continue to pay everybody who I was paying previously, and I've even brought a new member of the team on as a freelancer. So it wouldn't have been possible without your wonderful support. Some of you are asking if we're going to homeschool in the fall. We live in Oregon. I have no expectation that Governor Kate Brown is going to let anybody go back to school in September. I don't think it's safe. I don't think she thinks it's safe. We have a senior in the house now. So my son, who doesn't live with us, is in, he's going to university in the fall. And our daughter is a senior in September. So whether she wants to graduate early anyway, I think she wants to graduate in January or something. So I think homeschooling, or rather distance learning, is probably how we're going to do it. But obviously that it depends on what happens in September. It has been a bit stressful for everybody because we've been on top of everybody. We haven't had chance to get away from each other. And we're all introverts. All three of us are introverts. I know I'm talking to you guys now in a very extroverted way, but I'm actually an introvert, and it's kind of draining talking to people in real life, less so online. My wife has her woodworking that she can go and do and chill, and obviously I have all of my hobbies as well. I've been able to I started a Dungeons and Dragons campaign about 3 months ago with some friends, and so hopefully we'll be able to continue that. So I've been getting some D&D time in the evening on a Tuesday, which is fantastic. And in case you're interested, I am a level 3 changeling rogue who's just become a buccaneer, so a swashbuckler even. So that's fun. We also have a ship at the moment, which was kind of fun. My character got a little bit drunk on rum the other night, and it was fun. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and can you imagine the bandwidth impact to Nikki for distance learning? Not very big, honestly, thankfully, because half of my day is spent A character, sure. Yeah, I did actually have rum that same night. Yeah, interesting. I'm not blushing. So we have a situation at the moment where I don't actually download a whole lot during the day. It's only the weekend that actually causes us problems. So Friday is my big bandwidth day. So today I have absolutely dominated the bandwidth because I've been downloading B-roll. But the other reason why we have that massive server in the other room, which now has 150 terabytes of storage on it, is literally for this reason, so that we don't have to keep downloading the stuff. So there we go. Game convention in the Dales. Oh, Campcom. That sounds like fun. I might have to talk about that with you offline. Anyway, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for talking with me. And yeah, we're going to be putting some AC in here. And if you want, so this is one of our servers that we use for. This server we use for getting stuff if we need to get stuff from another country. Sometimes it's easier to go through a VPN. It's faster than going through US servers, don't ask me why. But yeah, this is the server room. Nice and toasty in here. So we're going to put AC in here somewhere, somehow. But anyway, I'm going to say goodnight because I need to upload those videos. And then I need to catch some sleep because we're going shopping in the morning. And I always go shopping first thing on a Saturday morning to avoid, people. Because that's what you're supposed to do to limit the spread of this horrible, horrible COVID. Keep evolving.